don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Misfire.
Not the first time?
The gun belongs to Dr. Hawthorne.
You exchanged weapons? You went into battle with an unproven rifle? They got an expression in prize fighting. Everybody's got a plan until they've been hit. Well, my friend, you've just been hit. You're getting up. That's up to you.
Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you in our unrated and underappreciated movie review series, and in this edition we will focus on the gripping action thriller The Ghost and the Darkness. Released in October the 11th 1996, it stars Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, and it was directed by Stephen Hopkins. Now the story of The Ghost and the Darkness is that we are set in 1898 in England with military engineer Henry Paterson, who's given the assignment of travelling to Kenya to take charge of the construction of a railway bridge and get it back on schedule. Now the reason for the delay is that the workers have come under attack from a lion who has them all fearing for their lives. Now Paterson comes across a lion, killing it with one shot, and convinces the workers that everything is safe and that they can continue building the bridge. Shortly after though, the site comes under attack again from two far more lethal and vicious lions, killing over 40 of the workers. Paterson tries several methods and traps to try and capture these lions, but they all come to no avail. With the workers scared and rebelling against Paterson, we see the entrance of famous hunter Charles Remington, who's been brought in to deal with the overall threat. Despite the best efforts, the lion attacks continue to intensify with more killings, resulting in the workers leaving sight. Both Paterson and Remington decide to take the fight forward and hunt down the lions for themselves. Now The Ghost and the Darkness is a superbly crafted historical action adventure that's full of tension and gripping intensity. It really is a throwback to that old school movie making, setting the story well and building up the plot steadily and ramping up the suspense and escalation all the way through, keeping you hooked from start to finish. Now director Stephen Hopkins is somewhat of an action specialist when you consider some of his previous films from the likes of Predator 2 and Blown Away, and here he creates a real savage brutality to the action and the sequences where we see a lion taking down all of the victims. It really is quite the lesson to modern movies today in how they're made in terms of mixing in the practical effects with the odd CGI shot here or there, which is what they used in terms of the lions themselves. But here they really use it sparingly, so you don't really notice too much. You're completely convinced about the lions in terms of their screen presence, and this is how CGI really should be used in terms of movies, in a much more of a sporadic and sparing fashion, so you don't really notice when it's real and when it's not. Now the visualization of the lions themselves is absolutely superb, truly presenting a terrifying threat with hints at both the horror and even more so the supernatural in terms of how they maneuver their attacks and why they exist to begin with. It's quite awe-inspiring and menacing at times whenever the lions appear on screen, but I think Stephen Hopkins was smart enough not to exaggerate on the elements of the horror and supernatural so that it doesn't take away from any realism of the story. Visually, the film looks absolutely great. There's some fantastic cinematography here, where they actually shot the film in South Africa. Again, all of the location shots of the landscape on the forestry really shine through, and it just lends an authenticity to the movie overall. And when we talk about the performances, we look at Val Kilmer, who I think is really solid as Paterson. He's very likeable, he's very straight down the middle, very morally sound, and he's also confident in his capabilities. We see that in the earlier stages of the movie, where he talks about moving to Africa, and despite the threat of his supervising officer telling him about the land, he doesn't care. He still wants to experience the country for the first time. But as we move on with the story, we do see that his confidence is shaken as the lions continue to attack. There's one very tense moment where he stares down at one of the lions holding a gun, and we get close-ups of his face and the lions as he loses his will to shoot in the moment. There's another vivid sequence where he has a nightmare about his wife being attacked by the lion. So I think these scenes here really paint enough of a journey that the character goes through in terms of the fear of the experience, and I think that's crucial in making us relate to the overall character. Now, despite getting second billing in terms of the marketing and promotion for this film, Val Kilmer is clearly the lead character of the story. Michael Douglas is great as always as Remington, and to be honest, he doesn't really come into the film for almost an hour into the story. And it takes a short while to get used to his presence and his overall accent, but overall he ends up being a very good supporting character, and as usual Michael Douglas always lends his legendary charisma and presence that always makes him such a compelling actor to watch on the screen. We yet again have to talk about another great musical score from Jerry Goldsmith all the way through this movie. It's so great for all of the action scenes in really ramping up the tension and the suspense, but also in the opening sequences where we see Paterson first arrive in Africa. Just beautiful tones, just helping to create the overall atmosphere and mood alongside the cinematography as well. So another great job for one of cinema's all-time great movie composers. So if I had to give an overall score for this movie, I would give it an 8.1 out of 10. And when we go on to the movie's overall release, and sadly it underperformed at the box office, managing to only gross $75 million from a $55 million budget. And I think overall this movie was perhaps too much of an old school historical adventure for audiences at the time who were very much used to the more CGI blockbusters along with the modern day actioners. So maybe The Ghost in the Darkness just really didn't appeal or come across as that fashionable. The movie also didn't score well in terms of critical reception, and even director Stephen Hopkins himself has disavowed the movie. If you look into the behind the scenes reports, he was very unhappy with Michael Douglas's role and him being selected for this film as well. And I think all of this is a shame because Ghost in the Darkness is definitely a great film for the most part. Once again, a real lesson in producing escalation and tension and suspense and managing to maintain that all the way through the movie. Again, shooting on location and using CGI sparingly and be able to produce coherent and intense action sequences. All of these elements are really what make this such a great film, and without question it's very much underappreciated both post and during its release, and it's definitely a movie I would recommend checking out. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review on The Ghost in the Darkness. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you think it ranks above both the careers of both Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas? Do you think it's underrated and it deserves more attention? Let me know what you think. And if you have any other suggestions of films that you'd like to see me review within this channel, then let me know in the comments, and if I've seen them I'll provide further commentary on those movies as well. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.